Hi guys, can you all hear me? I'm going to type in the chat box. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hi Fatima, wonderful. So thank you all for jumping on training tonight. I'm going to start with taking us through just our tonight's agenda. So welcome to the training. Tonight we have Mace covering vitamin D and the importance of why everyone needs to be taking vitamin D. If anyone saw Brian Dixon when he came out with Jordan Kemper, he actually spoke of vitamin D now being one of the core essential vitamins that people need to take along with the essentials and omega-3s. So can't wait to hear what Mace has for us this evening. Then we have Sina with emotional IQ. I'm so excited to see what Sina has to say. Emotional IQ was featured at International Convention this year, and unfortunately that was one that I didn't get to see. I was in another lecture, so I'm really excited to hear about hear what Sina has to say. And then I'm reigniting convention and of course Tony Robbins. So tonight let's get started with our new associates. So we have quite a few. Now forgive me if I do not pronounce your name right, or I might just go with first names. So we've got Cody Parkinson, we've got Mark McCready, we've got Lai Ennis, Eric Bergen, Lara Georges, Megan Bowden, Glenn Kenzie, Danielle Young, Stephen Blizzard, Michaela Kenzie, Jack Orford, Mohammed Gorgi, Olivia Govan, Arwen Matayan, Danae Delapez, Ibwa Nissen, Randa, Elise Nicholas, Lauren Moore, Melanie Akame, and Sina and Yasmin's mum. So let's now move along to tonight's top enrollers. So this is the top enrollers across Australia. So we've got Emma Butler at number 6. We've got Harika at number 6. We've got Jared and Adam Wiseman at number 14. Jerome at 14. Jessica Monroe at 14. Christy Skin. And we've got Matthew David and Sandra Fisher. So well done. This is across Australia, guys. So that's absolutely amazing. Then we've got top associate enrollers. So at number 39, we've got Matthew and we've got Sign. So congratulations, guys. That is an amazing achievement. And finally, we've got top rank advancement. So we've got new believers. So we've got Mark Bernard, we've got Sign, and we've got Yasmin. So congratulations on your rank advancements. And we have Arika coming in with a new share rank. So congratulations, everyone. That is amazing. Now, there's also a health and freedom this week that I wanted to let you guys know about at USANA headquarters. That's at Wednesday night. And also, please don't forget about Simon Chan's boot camp, which is coming up in the end of October, and also his health and freedom, which will be on Thursday, the 23rd of October. It's still to be confirmed where it will be held at, but Simon Chan will be doing a health and freedom in Sydney on the 23rd of October. So now I'm going to hand you over to Mace while Mace tells us about vitamin D. So give me one moment and I'll hook the PowerPoint up for Mace. So give me a second.
So hello everybody. Today I'll be talking about vitamin D and how important it is. Vitamin D is actually related to everything in our immune system, our health, and if you're deficient in vitamin D, you're basically pretty unhealthy. So I'll start. So what is vitamin D? So it's a fat-soluble vitamin, and it's produced when the sun reacts with a substance and it hits the skin. It makes up 90%. It is made up of 90% of the skin, and only 10% comes from the food we eat. So it's pretty awesome. The benefit of vitamin D, sorry. So bone health and immune system. So for bone health and teeth, so to have strong teeth and bones, you need to have high levels of vitamin D, or at least not too low. Vitamin D is, so you need the vitamin D aids the absorption of calcium and other minerals. So if that's lacking, you're lacking other vitamins. And so it's needed for adults and children. Okay, vitamin D and the immune system. So low levels of vitamin D are linked with a wide range of health problems. So adequate levels of vitamin D are needed for general good health, normal growth, muscle function, healthy immune system. So as you can tell, it's related to a range of different things. So the facts about having low vitamin D and the statistics that are related to it. So too much sun can actually cause skin cancer. So if you're out there trying to get all the vitamin D you can actually get skin cancer at the same time because of too much sun absorption, or being outside in the sun. So the sun is actually one of the main sources of bone building, so vitamin D. So you actually do need to be in the sun, but you just have to know what time of the day and for how long. And Australia and New Zealand actually suffer from a high level, high deficiency in vitamin D. So a lot of people are deficient. These are just some estimates. So what you'd need in males and females. You can guys have a look at that. Okay, so are you getting enough vitamin D? So there are a few symptoms. So you can get general aches and pains, low resistance to infections, including colds and flu. So if that's happening to you, then you're probably deficient in vitamin D. You can actually get a blood test to find out if you're deficient. Who's more likely to have vitamin D deficiency? So more people in higher risk groups, so don't go out in the sun for too much. Older people, naturally dark-skinned people, people who are covered up, like myself, clinically obese, people working indoors, entertained indoors. So older people, basically. So how much vitamin D do we actually need? So here it's got it in so 50 nanomoles per liter of plasma is recommended. So there's at the bottom it's statistics for like boys and girls, adults, females and males at the bottom. How do we get vitamin D? So safe sun, so not too much and not too little, food and supplements. A vitamin D from safe sun. So sun is our major natural source of vitamin D, as we all know. So we need sun exposure of 6 to 8 minutes in peak UV periods every day. So we need to be outdoors. So around lunchtime, that's probably where it's mostly needed. So vitamin D from food, primarily you can get it from oily fish, so salmon, sardines, swordfish. So you can get vitamin D from food, so breakfast, cereal, milk, and obviously UV exposure. So vitamin D from supplements. So supplements play a huge part. So whatever in the gaps that you're lacking, that's where it actually makes up for it. And those people who have like sensitive skin, can't be out as much, obviously they're lacking, so they need to supplement more than others. So supplementing from USANA's nutritionals. So USANA was one of the first global producers to act on the emerging scientific evidence on vitamin D, and then that is including the essentials and the actual vitamin D supplement. So there's a picture of them, and so the essentials, Body Rocks, Usanimals actually have it, but obviously if you're deficient, you'd need to have the vitamin D tablets as well on top of that. So that again goes to how much vitamin D and how it's linked to cholesterol. So you need that amount. So yeah, 1,000. Benefits of vitamin D. So it helps obviously maintain healthy bones. It helps you to absorb calcium necessary for like a normal bone growth, muscles, and immune system functions. Vitamin D, again, so your son has vitamin D. So vitamin D3 supplements, there it goes on about it. You guys read. And so the reasonable ways to improve vitamin D status, if your absorbed to sun exposure is not practical, if you do not if you do much indoors, so if you're out indoor mode a lot, and if you have dark skin, if basically if it is culturally inappropriate for older people who do not want to go outside, you do need vitamin D supplement. So what's next? So you can get your vitamin D tested and to see if you're actually deficient, or you're to maintain that level, and that's to actually not be deficient, so to be at optimum level. And there's some links to check that out. So there's a SunSmart and things like that. Yeah. So I'm just going to hand it back to Jade, and she'll go on from there.
Thank you, Mace. Another thing which is very important to know about vitamin D is that it's also, if you're deficient in vitamin D, can also lead to a big link to depression. So anyone that is depressed, obviously they need to seek medical help, but it is also can be linked to a vitamin D deficiency. Many cancers are linked to vitamin D deficiency, so it is very important, with most of us leading busy lives, working indoors and not getting out as much as what we would like to be supplementing extra vitamin D. So those 1,000 units a day. There's also 800 units in the essentials. So thank you so much, Mace, for presenting for the first time here tonight. It's very daunting actually talking to a screen, and you can't see people's reactions to see if they're doing okay or if they can hear you. So thank you so much for doing that for us. Next, we're going to bring on Sina. So Sina is doing emotional IQ. He promised I'm going to love it. So I can't wait to hear what he's got for us. So Sina, I'm going to hand it over to you. So give me 1 second and I'll bring it over to Sina.
All right, thank you, Jade, for the introduction, and also thank you, Mace, for that detailed training on vitamin D. That was awesome. And, I actually didn't know half of that, so that was really your first time. That was absolutely amazing. I could not tell it was your first time at all. Thank you, Mace. Now, I'm just going to share my screen, guys, so just bear with me 1 sec. All right, awesome. Can you please send me a text, Jay, to let me know if you can see my screen and hear me properly? All right, awesome. All right, Emotional Intelligence by Jen Groover. This was a training that we went through in New York Convention a few weeks back when we were in America. And when I was sitting there, I was like, whoa, everyone has to hear this. This stuff is amazing. And Jen Groover, she's an absolutely powerful woman. She's a designer, entrepreneur, spokesperson, author. She was just such a powerful woman when she was speaking on stage. Now, she says that entrepreneurship is a journey of self-transformation. Now, what she means by that is that we're continuously growing in this business. And as Tony Robbins said, everything in this universe is either growing or dying. So self-transformation, you're continuously growing, right? We're continuously transforming. Throughout the guys, I want you guys to keep this in your mind. Subconscious questions. Who do you want to be? What is your legacy? And what impact do you want to make to the world? Now, what is emotional IQ? Emotional IQ is self-awareness. Being aware of how you feel, more importantly, why you feel the way you feel. The higher your EIQ, the healthier you are physically, emotionally, and mentally. You will even be able to understand what beliefs and habits hold you back from being the healthiest and happiest you can be. And most importantly, you will understand people better. So how do you begin to raise your level of self-awareness? You guys must be wondering, How, right? First of all, you need to grow your self-awareness. Firstly, you must commit. Commit to raising your self-awareness. It's not an easy job, but it can be happen. It can be made. Becoming self-aware means becoming aware of every thought you think, every word you choose, and every action you take. It's also understanding how people in your life affect you, good or bad. Acknowledging everything you read, watch, and listen to also has an impact on you, your energy, and how you see the world. Many people begin this process to becoming self-aware by journaling. This creates a greater habit of consistent self-awareness, self-reflection, and identification to connections. If you're not self-reflecting, how are you going to know what you learned from the experience? Now, secondly, identify your self-limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors. You will need to become aware of the things in your life which have been painful. Now, I know you don't want to do this, but it's very crucial and critical in order to raise your emotional IQ, guys. Most of us bury our stuff deep down so we don't have to deal with it, but I promise you that is the worst mistake you can ever make. If you don't deal with the pain today, it won't go away until it's resolved. If you do aim to bury this stuff, the unhealed, unresolved feelings will become your triggers and belief systems. I'm going to repeat that, guys. If you do aim to bury that stuff, the pain, the unhealed, unresolved feelings will become your triggers and belief systems. And they will eventually become your saboteurs without you even realizing it. These are the voices in your head telling you, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not strong enough, or whatever word inserted before the word enough. And you can keep creating as much negative self-talk as possible, only to diminish your perception of your own worth. For example, how many of you have ever dealt with breakups, death of a loved one, bullying, verbal abuse, physical or sexual abuse? These are some of the most common reasons people experience pain, also known as emotional trauma. Emotional trauma shapes and defines our fears and belief systems, which then cause constant self-sabotaging behaviors. We are held back from happiness and inner peace when we don't acknowledge our trauma for what it is. Instead of gaining strength and wisdom from these experiences and feeling empowered, we tend to feel like we deserved the treatment we received because of some flaw in ourselves. Now, I'm going to give you guys an example, but just a disclaimer, this example is no way pointed and or based on any person and or real life experience relating to myself or anyone listening to this call. Thank you. For example, if someone you love cheated on you, it hurt your feelings. Maybe you felt betrayed, or more importantly, maybe you felt that something was wrong with you, like you weren't enough in some way. So you took that experience and made it mean something about you and about others. Then a few months later, you meet someone great, but since you never healed your trauma pain from the last relationship, and you never changed your belief system about what happened, you still believe that cheating was about you, and now people can never be trusted again. So you begin to self-sabotage your new relationship, consciously and subconsciously. You become guarded and defensive and not fun, loving, carefree person you were in the beginning. You become insecure in the value you add to the relationship and see everyone else as your competition. Now, do you see where I'm going with this? And yes, a month later, the relationship ends because you projected all your fears and self-created belief systems from your unhealed relationship to a new exciting one. And now that you've broken up, it only validates your other belief systems, that you're not enough. You have the worst luck in relationships and so forth. And the cycle continues, guys. So what's the solution? And what does emotional intelligence mean to all this? Which leads on to the third one. Bolster your self-worth. An emotionally intelligent person heals their wounds from the past so they don't relive them in the future. They realize they have control over one thing in life, their perception. They understand nothing has meaning other than the meaning they give it. so they never take other people's stuff personally. From the story about cheating, how might the emotionally intelligent person handle the situation? I'm sure they would still hurt and be disappointed, but they wouldn't make it about them. It's the other person. Are you with me? Are you guys understanding where I'm coming, what I'm talking about, and how I'm getting into the emotional intelligence of this? Now, it takes me to the fourth one. How to change your perception. So cheated on, creates this belief that relationships are bad and that you have bad luck and that you can't trust anyone, that everyone's in competition. How do you change that? Can you see how all of this can be applied to every aspect of your life? If so, you need to create a new, empowering belief system to be free. Free of self-sabotaging behaviors, free of negative self-talk, free of sadness, pain, and frustration. How would you feel to that? Life is meant to be lived from a place of abundance, love, happiness and joy, not suffering, not competition towards other people, not greed, no evil. Emotional intelligence is completely teachable, and the best students are those who strive to have the highest levels of self-actualization. They want to be the best they can be on a daily basis. Better your best, guys. The only competition you should have is yourself. You should always be aiming to be better than who you were yesterday. Which leads into the fifth. Increase your communication and intimacy in all your relationships. Ask friends and loved ones to join you on this journey. Hold each other accountable and experience success and bliss like never before. Self-reflect every morning, every night. Understand what you're grateful for in your life. Right? Change your beliefs on things that create fear. Now, a bit of emotional IQ extra. Jane Grever spoke about leaving your ego at the door. We all know what the ego is, right? As Jordan Kemper spoke, he said that when Dr. Hurstcheck taught him to sit down and check out the Asana opportunity, he said, my ego was so big it wouldn't fit through the door for me to even sit down and take a look at it. I thought, I know all this, and I'm taking all these supplements, stuff like that. His ego was holding him back first. And the ego is what we should leave at the door. Otherwise, it will sabotage our business. And authenticness is so important in this business. If you're not authentic, people will smell it. This comes back to bettering your best, becoming a better person. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, if you're not authentic, people will notice. They will smell it. Luckily for us, USANA encourages us to become better people. Self-development. We're continuously following leaders. We're continuously learning from successful leaders. We're learning about love. We're learning about helping others. This business is about helping people. And in order to help others, we must become better versions of ourselves. Grow your self-awareness. Identify your self-limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors. Bolster your sense of self-worth. You're all worth it. Change your belief. It's all possible for you in your life. No limits at all whatsoever. Attempt all these. Aim to strive the best every day. And your emotional intelligence will rise. Excuse me. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions about tonight's training on emotional intelligence, please don't hesitate to Facebook message me or post on the link of the recording. And you all can achieve the greatness within. And together we can help millions by sharing the vision of Dr. Wentz. How? By becoming better versions of ourselves. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to take it back to Jade. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sina. That was amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time to put that PowerPoint together. That is definitely something that I'm sure applies to most of us, if not all of us. So thank you so much. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint now, so give me a moment. Okay, guys, so I'm going to recap some things from convention that I found that were really, really, really beneficial. Now, I know last week, I think Tom went over Tony Robbins. I'm going to give it to you from a female perspective tonight. And I'm also going to talk about some of the things that really changed the way I looked at myself and the business after attending convention. And these are things that have dramatically changed not only the way I'm working, but the way I look at life and the way I am as a mom and a wife and things like that. So I'm going to start off with some light bulb moments. So the first person that I really, really loved and loved seeing in Sydney as well was Jordan Kemper. Jordan Kemper, he presents with such energy and hype that I literally think he could have been selling pencils and I would have brought one. I was actually sitting in the room next door listening to Business of the 21st Century when Jordan Kemper was on. And the room was so loud, there was so much cheering, there was so much hype that I actually had to get up and walk out of where I was because I was thinking, what is going on in there? I can't miss this. Like that is, if you know you're doing something right when people are walking out of rooms to walk into yours. So when I walked in, I was absolutely wowed by his energy. Like on YouTube and when I met him in the States, I thought, wow, this guy does have a lot of energy, but on stage it's like times 1,000. So the key thing that I got from Jordan was that he almost quit. Now I'm sure we've all had a moment or a thought about, wow, maybe this isn't working, maybe this isn't for me, no one wants the products. We've all heard it before. But it wasn't until I heard it from him that I thought, oh my goodness, could you imagine the life that he would have missed out on if he had quit? So for Jordan, it wasn't until he read a book from Robert Kiyosaki that he realized that if he committed to this business for 5 years and that he did it right, he could be financially free. Now, I guess the key thing there is doing it right. So don't like commit half commit and do a half-hearted job. Like he committed and gave it his all so he could be financially free within 5 years. He used to say that no one wants these products or the business is too expensive, blah, blah, blah. Now, as I said before, could you just imagine if he quit? Who attended Boom over the last week? Everyone can see the magic that this guy creates. Could you imagine if he had quit the business? I really want you to reflect on that because there are so many people that have dropped out of this business or, you know, say they want to take a break and you think, wow, like could they have been the next Jordan Kemper or what legacy could they have left? So people want what they don't have. So we are marketing ourselves. People want to join you. What do people want in life? They want happiness. They want joy. They want time freedom. They want health. And they want energy. How many people you see drinking energy drinks every day or drinking coffee in the morning? And why is that? It's because they want energy. So what do we need? We need energy. We need excitement and we need lots of stories. We also need to focus on detaching ourselves from the outcome. Guys, always assume a yes. When you are seeing someone, go in there, envisioning them filling out the paperwork and joining your team. Talk to the people as if they are part of the team. Always assume a yes. So Jordan's vibe alone is enough to wow an audience. All the top leaders that I went and saw speak at International Convention said one thing, that people are buying you. So just a really quick reminder, check your Facebooks, check your social media, check your Instagram, and think if you're an outsider looking in, would you want to join you? Realistically, I see some people's, and this is no one on the call, like Sina put up a disclaimer, it's no one here, but I look at people's Facebooks and think, wow, 1, I wouldn't want to work with you. 2, if they were in the business, I definitely wouldn't join them. And then I look at other people and think, wow, you are so inspirational. Like I love what pops up on like Anna Lozano's page and Jordan Kemper's page. So I'm like, that is so inspirational. Tony and Tammy Dawn, I love seeing what they post. It motivates me and it makes me makes me feel like a part of a family. So I think it's really important just to remember what we're putting out there. That's what attracts people. So be really cautious with what you post and what you write. Even a one-off negative status can completely change people's perspective on you. So the next person that I absolutely loved seeing was Brendon Burchard. Now, when I heard this, I was blown away. On average, an American watches 4 hours of television a day. Now, who could imagine watching 4 hours of television a day? wouldn't your brain just be numb? So that's 13 years of wasted life. That is 13 years non-stop watching TV. By the time their life has ended, they have watched that much TV. So think of how well you could have spent that time, how much better that time could have been allocated with family, creating memories, or living rather than existing. So ask yourself a question. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Because at the end of the day, when the end of our time comes, that's what we're going to ask ourselves. Did I live? Did I love? And did I matter? Very important. That's something that I now think of before I make a decision. Will I look back and think, wow, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? And make a decision based on that, because it's so important. So this is more than just a business. Usana is a legacy. What people will remember you for. I don't want Cruz to remember me and Mummy and Daddy made a lot of money. I want him to look at the legacy we built and say, wow, Mummy and Daddy really made a difference in the world. And look at the work that I can carry on. That is so much more important than money. So I ask you, how do you want to be remembered? Not all of you have children or probably are planning on having children in the near future either. But imagine yourself in 100 years' time if you're looking back on your life, because we all know we're going to live past 100 because we're all very healthy. So how would you want to look back on your life in 100 years from now? What's your 100-year vision? How do you want to be remembered? That's a big one. Something else very important is the first hour of your day. So Brendan spoke about if the first hour of your day is productive, it means you are more likely, statistically more likely, to have the rest of your day being productive as well. So who wakes up and the first thing they pick up is their phone or log onto Facebook, and then that's it? You're scrolling through your newsfeed, you're commenting on things, and then your focus has shifted from where it should be to where it shouldn't be. So Simon Chan posted a status today on Facebook, and it said, after reading this, you're either going to do something that draws you to your dream or pulls you away. And I was like, wow, I'm getting off Facebook after reading that. So Jeremy Stansfield, I loved seeing Jeremy Stansfield. I was so excited to see him. I've never seen him before. I loved his use of words. So what I took away from Jeremy was he made things sound so exciting just by adding in an extra word. So things like phenomenal, like everything comes down to detail with this business. He said we are a rocking billion-dollar company. We have personalized nutrition. We're bringing sexy back with our amazing skincare. Like, you can obviously choose and insert your own words as you please, but I love those extra words add so much hype and excitement. And it's a point of difference from everyone else. Like, so many companies have skincare, but are they bringing sexy back with their skincare? Probably not. Okay, there are a lot of supplements out there, supplement companies out there, but are they offering personalized nutrition? And my favorite is the rocking billion-dollar company. I think that's so cool. Anyone hears $1 billion and they're going to want to join, right? So what's your action plan? Since coming back from convention or since meeting with your team after they've been to convention, have you put an action plan in place? I have. I'll run you through my action plan. Things changed quite dramatically for me. And in the next slide, I'll go through why. So I must speak to 5 new people a day. Whether it be I talk to the lady at the shops and, find out a bit about her, like, why she works here and what she does, at least I'm forming a relationship. Or it might be Facebook, text messages, or a phone call. And then I must do 5 follow-ups. So there might be someone that's tried the product or someone that I've approached before, but maybe I got a no from. Make sure you're recording people that you've got no's from, because remember, their situations can change every 3-6 months. Always follow them up. And I must book an appointment every day. So there was actually a week where I booked an appointment. Was it last week or the week before? I booked an appointment every day, as I said I would. And I went, the next week was when all my appointments were, and everyone came down with the flu. And I was so disheartened. I thought, wow, I worked so hard. And all 6, because I have my Sundays, my off day, all 6 of my appointments cancelled. Lucky I booked 2 on one day, so I still had 1 face-to-face appointment. But I was like, wow. But they all rescheduled. But the point is, like, it's a matter of it's a matter of like abundance. It's going to happen. It might take 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, for you start to see an on-flow and your business really starting to develop from it and your numbers starting to increase. But unless you start doing something different and implementing more work, you're probably not going to see a change unless you step it up. So yes, 5 of them cancelled, but 6 of them cancelled, but that was okay. Because why? They all rescheduled, and I still did my 5 new people, my 5 follow-ups, and I still booked my appointments. If I hadn't done that, I would never have even got those appointments or a reschedule from them. So it's always looking at the positives. You may get 20 no's, but you'll always find your aces, and you just got to keep going until you find your aces. You'll always eventually find them. Remember, there's only 4 aces in a deck of 52 cards. But don't forget about your kings, your queens, and your jokers, because your business can't always be made up of aces. But they are the ones that will more than likely do tenfold over your others. But it is very important to have a diverse team. And here we go. Most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So make sure that you know what your day is going to consist of. When I wake up in the morning, I know what the first half an hour is going to be spent doing. I know what happens when Cruz goes to sleep. I know what time I start preparing dinner. Because you need to be organized. So that way you also know when your free time is, because we can't be working 24 hours a day. You also need to enjoy life as well. So I know at what times that, Cruz and I can go to the park, or that we're going to have lunch, because I've planned out my day. So whatever I'm doing with my full attention, and whenever I'm spending time with my family and my friends, it's quality time. There's no point doing this business and every time you're around your family and friends, you're on your mobile phone. It's not attractive. So make sure that when you set your time wisely so you can actually enjoy your life. You can enjoy spending time with people. And then when you're working, you're very, very heavily focused, because you can actually get more done in 1 or 2 hours than you can across the whole day if you're focused. So now I'm going to talk about Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins was one of the most amazing events I have ever attended in my life. So the first day when I went, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is so overwhelming. The second day I was thinking, how the hell am I going to implement all this stuff in my life? And I went home really stressed, thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Day 3, I was like, yes, nothing's going to stop me. And then day 4, when the health date came up, I was so super excited that Tony Robbins and I had so many similar views on many different things. And I learned a lot of extra things as well that I can help people with their health. So remember, it's always about how you can add value as well, not just about supplements. So I want you to think about a limiting belief. So something that you tell yourself over and over again about why you can't achieve this, or why the business isn't happening for you. For me, it was, I'm a mum and I don't have a lot of time. I can't really stick to a schedule because I have Cruz. So that is not true. I have just as much time as anyone. And also, since being on Simon Chan's Diamond Mastermind call, I've spoken to a lot of people that have more than one child. They may be older or younger, but people whose lives are also very busy, and they still make time for the business and make it work for them very successfully. So always when you hear someone that's busier or worse off than you, you're like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. So it's very important not to let your limiting beliefs hold you back, because it is only a belief. There is always someone worse off than you who has done more than you. It's simply an excuse. So some people are like, I'm not worthy, I don't have time, I'm not as smart as them, I don't know as much, I haven't been in the business as long. These are all limiting beliefs. So think about this. I want you to look at your life now. Now imagine you're in the same position in 10 years' time. So I want you to look at your finances, your relationship, how happy you are within yourself, your family life, everything. How does that make you feel? So if you were to look in the mirror, what would you say to yourself? What have you lost? What have you missed out on? And how does it make you feel? So when Tony started talking about this, I was thinking of all different things, like, wow, if my life is exactly the same in 10 years' time, I would be thinking, okay, I've wasted a lot of time. Because everyone wants to move forward in life, right? And there's always something that we want to change. Now I want you to envision your dream life. Everything that makes you feel fulfilled, whether it be helping people, money, family, being on stage, having crowds of people inspired by you, whatever it may be. Now close your eyes. Imagine yourself in 10 years' time and you're living this life. So if your dream's to be on stage, you're on stage. For me, something I really want to do is go and help children in third world countries. So disadvantaged children that have either lost their parents in either war or whatever circumstances. And I want to be able to provide education, food, water, and a safe living environment for them. And when I watch documentaries and see people over there doing things like that, I'm like, wow, it's a really big reminder of why I have to keep pushing. So I want you to think about how it feels. Who's there by your side? How good does that feeling feel compared to the feeling you were feeling a couple of minutes ago about how you feel if where you're sitting right now is where you are in 10 years' time? So what's the difference? What's going to be the difference between living that dream life and living that life where you're in the same position you are now? Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that are probably sitting there thinking, well, I'm quite happy where I am now. But in 10 years' time, I'm sure people would want to have maybe more money, more time freedom, maybe children, maybe be married, maybe have a boyfriend, whatever it may be. So the difference is focus. Are you looking forward, backwards, or in the present? The only thing stopping you from where you want to be is a story that you keep telling yourself. That is a limiting belief. Now I want you to think about what it is that holds you back in your life, that one excuse. So pick one excuse that stands out. And I want you to turn it into a positive. So I changed mine to I have all the time in the world because I have time freedom and I'm an extremely organized mum. I was like, wow, that wasn't hard. We all have the ability to do this. We saw people speak on stage at convention that were deaf, and he was a silver director. There were people that had been abused and their husband threatened to kill her, so she was prospecting in the toilet. People that grew up in the Bronx. People that grew up in the world's worst situations. And guess what? They made it work. They did it. So there really is no reason why we can't do it. Whilst along your journey, it's so important that you stay true to yourself and you stay authentic. They are the most important things, because if you're not, people see straight through you. You know, if you're someone that is a shark and you love money, that is okay. But make sure that you're honest with yourself about why it is you're doing this business. So if you have an authentic reason for it, it's so much easier and you'll attract people for the right reasons. Now, after convention, we were fortunate enough to meet with David Mullen. So David Mullen said something that was very interesting. He asked, what is the difference between people who walk the stage as diamonds or Fortune 25? What was that one thing? It was action, constant action. So we don't need more and more training. We don't need anything, we have it all. It's just the hardest challenges create the biggest rewards. So many people avoid prospecting. Who here, when it comes time to prospect, is kind of like, oh, and they prefer to maybe do some back-end work or check up on their team to see if they're prospecting. But guys, I hate to break it to you. If you are not prospecting, your team will not prospect. So in our case and with our Usana business, we get paid to talk to people and we get paid to do appointments, right? Because it is only through talking to people and doing appointments that we can move product and the business. So what we need to do is get out and talk to people and take massive action. So one of the things that really struck me was when David Mullen spoke of Bill and Jenny Wong. So he said they sponsor at least 2 people a week and 4 customers a week. That's not their team, guys. That's them on their own. That is why they are 10-star diamonds. So in the Philippines, in the week that we met David Mullen, the Philippines sponsored 1,400 people in 1 week. Now, who thinks that is crazy big numbers? 1,400 people in a week. In Australia, we sponsor about 200 a week. So what's the difference? Well, corporate said this. Australia's leaders are so worried about their teams, training them and trying to do systems, when really, if we were out sponsoring, they would be too. The people that want it will run with you. You just need to be doing mass action. It's not the training we need, it's the action, and action will define you. So that's it from me tonight, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in here. So Fernando, we shouldn't compare to others because one person will become prideful and the other will become hurt. So by being grateful and showing compassion, we can emotionally connect with others. That was very, very awesome. And I really love the disclaimer which Sina popped in there. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Lauren Cruz. Yes, that's a beautiful name. So I'll just tell you briefly before I go jump off the call how my way changed. So I just came back from my honeymoon with David, so my husband, and we went away for 5.5 weeks with Cruise, and we got to travel around. Now, for any of you that don't know Dave, he works about 65 to 70 hours a week in his job. So he is up at 4 a.m. to start at 5, and some days he will be home at maybe 5, 6 o'clock at night. So his days are really, really long. He doesn't have a lot of time freedom. Now, while we were away, he got to spend quality time with Cruz. Cruz and David had never bonded prior to that because I'm the one that predominantly is with Cruz while David works. When I got to see the relationship that they grew together and how Cruz didn't want to leave David's side, we made a decision that something had to change, that we couldn't continue living our lives like this, because the most important thing is time with your family and your friends and enjoying those quality moments. So yes, I got to be there for all the amazing milestones of my son, but David didn't. And seeing how much Cruz idolized his dad, I thought, wow, it's time to take massive action now. So anyone that, I know there's a lot of guys and probably young girls on the call, but really you might not want to have children for now, 5 years, 10 years, but when you do have a family, you're going to want to be with them. So think about that and really find your why for the business, because I always knew my why, but when I really saw my why while I was away, at a deeper level. And I thought, wow, something has to change. So I really urge you to really, really look at your why and really appreciate this business for what it is, because it can create, magic. So thank you so much for your time, guys. Once again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the question box. I'll stay on here for another 2 minutes. And thank you for jumping on the call. We'll post the recording up tonight. Okay, so I'll just wait on here a minute if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing the Sydney people at Health and Freedom at Castle Hill on Wednesday night. And also anyone that's coming down to Simon Chan boot camp in October. So thank you to our speakers and have a fabulous night. Good night all.
Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good night.